What do you remember about the incident?
I like this one.
When you came around, did you see people?
Yes.
What were they doing?
They were dead.
Because you two shared this character and shared this character's journey, were you able to chat, communicate, collaborate at all during the filming process?
John kind of wanted us to not be too close and see each other work too much. He kind of wanted to keep especially, he never wants anybody to, unless they have to, look at the dailies. He's very stingy about that, but I think it ultimately comes together.
Stingy.
It comes together well, which it's not like him at all, because he's a very quiet person normally, and that's something he really does. He does not like his actors to watch the dailies. So I didn't see much of your work. I didn't see any of your work.
Yeah, I didn't see any work either.
Until I had seen the film itself and actually been able to finally see all of that. Yeah.
I loved your work in the movie.
Thank you. I loved your work in the movie, man. Absolutely. Best work in the movie ever.
Did you get a chance to chat with Finn ahead of filming at all to try to establish kind of a physical language for the character?
Yeah, we didn't, and I think that was a choice made by John. I believe it was because we're the same person in different parts of their lives, and of course Finn playing the younger Boris wouldn't know anything about his future, so there was no need for me to tell him about how I was going to play the role. And then I think John trusted my instinct to take how I would have played the younger version when I was younger, and take that and manipulate that into then the older version. So that was just down to trusting me as an actor to be able to bring that to life.
Accident. Yeah.
Sarah, I was just so taken by your character and the physicality you brought to her. I was wondering what your relationship to chewing gum was by the end of shooting.
I needed a bite plate and a couple teeth removed. I do like to chew the gum, but I have that TMJ thing, so it wasn't the greatest thing. But we do suffer for our art, right, Luke?
What's TMJ?
Temporal mandibular joint. It's like something.
Apparently you don't know either.
It's the thing that happens here when you clench or grind your
okay.
teeth. So my jaw was popping a lot. Yeah.
It was worth it. She was great.
It was interesting, though, to see her get directed by John Crowley, the director, and he's, very thoughtful and
Did I just keep
speaking to her, and she's just chomping away on
I didn't
gun.
even know I was doing it.
Great. It was great.
I love that.
Embarrassing.
I was wondering your approach to the balance between those timelines. I thought the timing of Adult Theo's entrance was spot on and perfect.
That was something that we worked very hard on at script level, which was the point at which one leaves young Theo's story, and having made the decision to not follow the book's linear narrative, the whole moving back and forth in time was central. But it's something that became more adjusted as we moved into the editing process. And that's sort of pretty much what you would expect. I mean, because I think the focusing in on two time periods in the story allowed us a more cinematic language. And partly the thing that was really important for me was to try and express Theo's internal emotional landscape all the time. And because he's moving from very vivid backdrop to very vivid backdrop, as it were, there are very different, distinct, contrasting worlds that Theo finds himself in, and sets of characters, some of whom never even meet the others within the world of it. It's like the whole thing is discrete, as it were. It's all, there's a huge cast. And it just keeps moving along, meeting new people. So that did take a bit of figuring out, but I'm very happy with the balance that we found.
I was wondering for both of you what your relationship was with the physical prop of the goldfinch itself, either wrapped or the real thing, and how both of you kind of had quite a few scenes of clinging to the prop itself, and how that informed your process.
I wish I would have stolen it. It would have been the best set souvenir ever.
The best sequel setup also.
I have to say they did give me one after the end of it.
That's amazing.
Maybe you asked. They didn't give me one. But you deserve it more than me.
They gave me a replica.
You deserved it.
It was really incredible to to get that at the end. I mean, it was really cool to have that at the end because, like you said, the character clings to it. And
You talking about the one on canvas? It wasn't on the
no,
board?
I got that one as
That
well.
one was terrible.
But it's so big that everything, the brush strokes are like.
It's like that one. It's like,
Yeah.
no, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, you can't
That's
see.
that's not the right scale.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
it
it's slightly
doesn't
larger.
show the detail as the smaller painting does. Yeah.
I know you were there, and I know what else was in that room. The Goldfinch.
Your character Boris has his own set of traumas. Can you speak to how that informed your process and how you tried to bring that into your performance?
Well, Boris is a survivor, you know, as are most of the characters within this, you know, or they are in search of surviving. And I think, you know, Boris is messing around with a very dangerous world and trying to live it with charisma and charm at the same time, which is very, very, very complicated within one's being, because how can you desensitize yourself from something which is so awful all the time? But for me, it's the one running theme for me is that the only person that he ever loved was Theo, and that's the person that he's betrayed the most. And he needs, in his soul, he finds it with age that he needs to make do, and he needs to put that right, because he can't go on in life with what he's done, and he doesn't want to allow Theo to live on in the torment that he's going through. And so that's the kind of bond that fundamentally creates all the different choices within Boris. And being away from all the years that they're away, I think he's never, ever spent a day not thinking about what he's done.
The way you approached the event of the terrorist attack, obviously we live in a scary world, that I'm sure it's very easy for that subject matter to be too jarring for viewers. What was your approach to making sure you could tell this event without, you know...
It was to do it impressionistically, rather than literally, as it were, up front in the film. And it was to do it as shards of almost like post-traumatic memories coming back. And again, it's to do with the thing I was mentioning earlier on, which is how you create Theo's internal landscape and to echo it, this central event that has happened in his life, to make an echo visually between that and the second central event that happens in his life, which I don't want to spoil, by when he thinks he has an object which he doesn't have, as it were, later on. And so to fold it in around that as the point at which he is at maximum stress about his whole life crumbling in front of his eyes, and the feeling that his whole life has been based on a lie, in a sense, was the point at which everything sort of opened up. And that was the importance of Boris sweeping back into his life. And when you meet adult Theo, he's got his armor on. He's like somebody who's surrounded by a tissue of lies. And nobody could get in there. I mean, you need somebody who's a lot more dangerous than either a therapist or a best friend. It's got to be someone like a pirate, which is what Boris is. He sort of sweeps in there, gets him into all sorts of trouble, and then gets him out of trouble at the end. And he's an incredibly loyal friend to him. And that's what's rather moving and glorious about the final stages of the story.
Such a powerful film. I'm sure you're so excited for people to see it in a wider theater. I was wondering if you had a favorite memory of going to the movie theater.
I went to go see The Hobbit with, I think the original Hobbit maybe, with a bunch of family back in Colorado. Going to the movie theater and seeing that movie and how cinematic and kind of magnificent that story can be was definitely a memory that I don't think I'll ever forget. Yeah, it's really,
awesome.
really fun. Yeah.
I remember being sunburnt in Long Island and going to see The Notebook with a bunch of female friends and crying at the end and thinking, I've never cried at a movie before.
Especially not in front of your female friends.
No, especially in front of my female friends. They were more forgiving.
Yeah.
Still isn't over.
I have so many
Yeah, me too.
favorite ones. So many of mine involved how do we get into an R movie. Like I can remember being obsessed with going to see The Warriors and then going to see Escape from New York, and then a big one was An Officer and a Gentleman.
Oh, yeah.
I can remember we got a guy, an older guy, let us in a side door.
Nice.
Yeah.
I got nowhere else to go!
Mine was Annie, the movie, and I wasn't going to a lot of R-rated movies. I was getting people to steal me beer, though,
Yeah.
and like get me a wine cooler. I was doing a lot of that, like outside of a 7-Eleven when I was older. Too old to be doing that.
It's the hard knock life for us.
Yeah, no, I remember going to see the movie Annie and deciding that I wanted to be an actress.
I tell you what, now sitting in this chair right now, promoting a movie that I've worked really hard to be an actor and be involved in. When I was a teenager, for pocket money, I worked in an Odeon cinema, and it was when all the Harry Potters came out. So all those Harry Potters movies, well, the first ones, resonate with me hugely because I was like, I'm cleaning a cinema, and all I want to do is be on that screen, and now I get to be here and I get to say that story.
Wicked.
It's
That's it for me.
magical.
Yeah.
No, I didn't mean to make that pun. It happened on accident.
Yeah. Well, nobody's ever asked me that before. So.
Oh, great.
You know, I was thinking yesterday, because I'm a really old person now, right? I remember seeing Ghostbusters for the very first time and knowing absolutely nothing about it when I was going into the cinema. That would be nearly impossible now unless you lived under a stone because of social media. I literally did not know the first thing about what this film was about or anything. And the experience of that was so vivid.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Yeah, so in lots of ways, maybe I'm trying to recapture that sort of feeling, which is to try and I don't know, create a story which has a degree of surprise in it and which isn't necessarily going where you expect it to go next.
Even the tiniest things mean something. I thought everything would be broken forever.
It was my fault she died.
I would have given it back. I swear.
Buddy, long time no see.
Hi, I'm Xandra, with an X.
So we just got in LaGuardia about 2 hours ago.
You want that rain thing, you know, the